you're feeling sad and down. Mostly that's because you don't have control of your life. Things such as the media and constant stimulation is telling you that you need to have a better life by having a Rolex, have a BMW, have the new iPhone. All these things are constantly robbing you of your own inner happiness, all right, and self-worth. You don't feel worthy. You need to have a Rolex. You're not worthy. You need the latest iPhone. You know, these things are robbing you of your life and your own essence and glory and amazing stuff. But it's not just that, it's everyday little things like having a Red Bull or a Starbucks or a Costa coffee in the morning every day. That's costing you a lot of money. Those things just constantly try to artificially stimulate you and keep you up. All right, and if you want to go to a rave party, that's great. You know, if you've got one more shift to do and you're on the night, I don't know, and you're really tired, fine. But doing it every day is really going to, one, is going to knacker your body out in the long term, and two, is going to cost you a lot of money and keep you a consumer. All right, so being a consumer, having a McDonald's every weekend or a takeout, oh, I've worked hard, I deserve it, I deserve it. Yes, you've worked hard, I understand that. But there are other ways of treating yourself that's better for your brain, better for your body, and better for your wallet. All right? You don't deserve to get a takeout every weekend and then get pasty in the week and then Starbucks. And you don't need all these things. It's just the media. Bombardment with stimulant. You must get this, you must get that for a happy life. They're tricking you into thinking a happy life equals a McDonald's or an iPhone or a Rolex or a Red Bull, all right? These things are tricking you. They're taking your money because they're corporations. They care about their shareholder. They don't care about you as a person, all right? You don't see an advert for an apple or a banana. There's no advert for that. There's an advert for Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Red Bull, all these things that are bad for you. Now, you know, everybody likes one now and then, but these things are generally bad for you if you overdose on them, if you have, you know, over a long period of time. So these things are robbing you. Now, what you want to think about is the way farmers live their life. You know, that you can start with that farmer mentality. That, I mean, you might know somebody similar, but that's how I look at it. All right. So a farmer has an old Subaru Forester that's going on for years and years and years, and it's four-wheel drive. It's good on diesel, and he's kept it for 20 odd years. It keeps going. All right. He buys his clothes from Mole Valley farmers. He's not stylish. He's not out trying to pull some women and look great because he's wearing Armani or Ralph Lauren or Ben Sherman. He's not trying to impress anybody, but he's had that shirt that cost him, say, 30 or 50 pounds. He's had that shirt for 20 years. Now, he's not getting caught up in the fashion industry and spending lots of money on clothes. He buys good quality clothes, good quality car, an old phone, and it'll last for years. So it's the mentality of buying quality and buying it once. So if you can't afford a Subaru Forester, an old Subaru, then maybe something like an old Peugeot, all right? Something like that that's suitable for its purpose, going from A to B without trying to be all flashy and exciting, all right? A lot of farmers and young farmers start off living in static caravans. It's not glamorous, I know, it's not glamorous. But they live in static caravans because it's cheap. All you have to do is sleep there, you know, cook your dinner there, and that's about it. So it's cheap and it's functional. All right. So another thing they do is they don't go on cruises. Oh, I need a holiday. I need a holiday. Yeah, we all want a holiday. We all want a break. But have one big holiday every 5 years, and the rest of the time just have local ones. Stay within the country, stay with family, stay with friends, and keep hold of your money. Don't be wasting it on extravagant things that doesn't really improve who you are. All right. We all need rest and relaxation, and I'll get onto that in a moment. So think like a farmer. So how would I do that? I'm not a farmer. and I don't have any land, I don't have all that money, I don't have that family. But how do you think like a farmer? So one thing you can do is minimize your lifestyle, all right? So think about like maybe the smallest home you can live in that is functional for you. Now for me, I might be a bit extreme, but functionally for me, I live in a camper van. I've had lots of camper vans. They are cheap. I find somewhere to work part-time on site. So I have no like campsite fees or anything like that, which again is the same as what the young farmer lads do and lasses, you know, or people with horses often do the same thing. So minimizing your lifestyle. I don't go out pubbing every weekend. I don't go on big extravagant holidays. I don't have the latest smartphone. I don't have the latest clothes or jewelry or Pandora's this, that and the other, you know, bracelets and stuff. Minimizing your lifestyle. I don't get overexcited at Christmas time and birthdays and presents and things like that. All right, I can send a card, but I don't have nieces and nephews that I spend hundreds on. All right, so minimize your outgoings, really reduce them down. You don't need to have Netflix, you don't need to have Sky, you don't need to have a BMW, you don't need to have a hot tub in the back garden. You don't need these things, they're not improving, they're just draining your money. All right, just draining your money. Okay, move on. So the mentality of a shrewd businessman, if you prefer, instead of farmer, shrewd businessman. So like haggling for things, maybe not at a supermarket, but generally if you haggle and you make out you can't afford it, you haven't got the money. So there are ways of negotiating and haggling and getting a really good price. So you keep hold more of your money and less of it goes to the main dealer or whoever you're buying the vehicle from. All right, okay, so cooking at home, other things you can do. Hang on, before we get onto that, cooking at home. So one other thing I wanted to say, I know this is a bit sporadic and a bit of a brain dump, but I wanted to get it out. So Instagram, scrolling, doom scrolling, and Facebook, all right, they have their purpose. And YouTube, just constantly scrolling and watching, they have a purpose, and that is to educate you and fill you with motivation and inspire you to do something yourself. That's the whole idea. You're going to do it yourself, all right? So you can get some great ideas. For example, you can go around and pick up old pallets and you can turn them into tables. You don't need a lot of skill, you just need a few tools. So pallets you can pick up, they're free. Most of the time you're free. I mean, I wouldn't bother paying for them, but they're free, and then you can sell it on Marketplace. All right. If you got a little bit of money, maybe buy a garage, you know, in a residential block. Buy a garage and then rent that out. You know, you might end up with getting 2, 3 or 4 of them and then renting them out. Again, getting passive income. All right. Motorcycles and cars. If you're able to look around for a common vehicle that is wanted, and then you're able to find, say, 10 cars of, let's just say, for example, a Ford. All right, you find 10 Fords through the Auto Trader or through the listings, and then you find, you go around that's in the right price and everything you want that's in good condition, and then you ring them up or you go and visit them and you haggle with them. You see if you can get it for the cheapest price. You know, you have a mind, in your mind set a price, say like 2,000 less or like 20% less. 20% less than it's been advertised for. And then once you're able to get that vehicle and clean it up and give it, you know, some really good cleaning inside and outside and make it look really good, and then you advertise it, and then you can sell it and make a profit. And then you move up to the next category of car. Maybe then you move up to a £2,000 car that's very common, and you ring around and you visit lots of vehicles. So you're putting in your time to get a very cheap or the cheapest possible vehicle to then sell. And because it's common, it's more likely to sell. All right, so you can do that with cars and motorbikes. I guess you could do that with houses, but if you were buying houses, then you wouldn't be watching this video. Okay, so what did I say? Wooden chopping blocks you can make. If you can weld, then you can buy cheap steel or get cheap steel and make a wood stove. There's quite a few down where I live here in the south of England, and I bought a few wood stoves. They're not very complicated at all. They're very, very easy to make. So again, there's always some way to use your spare time building or making something that's going to generate money for you. All right. So you really want to think about a passive income. So for me, I'm transferring across. Okay. So I work part-time, and then all the hours I've got, I use to make videos and help other people and get out and do stuff. All right. So all this free time you need to put into yourself or into your business. All right. Think about how you can make money, how you can make a passive income, how you can get something to help you. And then over time, say 1, 2, 3 years, this will build and build and build. And before you know it, you've got a rainy day fund. You've got a reliable vehicle. You're starting to look at maybe getting a bit of land, maybe a bit of woodland, something that's going to make you money. You're looking at ways of making money. And that's the mindset. You end up building a mindset of, right, vending machine, yes, I can make money out of that. Car wash, laundromat, all these little things that you know you could learn how to turn into money. All right, so invest that time into yourself about how you can make small businesses locally. All right, that's very important. Then the last thing I wanted to say, so I said like about building assets, and then the last thing I want to say is cut out those negative people. Keep it to yourself what you're doing, because a lot of people will be envious and jealous, and they'll be, oh, you can't do that, it's impossible. No, I've tried, you can't do that, you can't do that. It's a scam. No, you can't do that, you can't do that. Oh, the government, oh, there's always negative people that want to bring you down because they're envious, they're jealous that you're doing something, and they could see that potentially, if you keep going with this attitude and this mindset of making money, then eventually you'll leave them behind, because you'll be looking for positive people. You'll be looking for businessmen, businesswomen to do business with. All right. And then on the subject of business, you want to build yourself a really good reputation with business people for being moral and fair. All right. That's all that business people care about, is somebody's being fair and moral. You don't want to be one of those people that end up earning lots of money off somebody else's back. You know, so yeah, be a business orientated with building yourself a good reputation, making good moral decisions, be good to people, and also put your name out there a bit. Help your community. If you've got a bit of spare change, help your community, because it goes a long way and then it comes back to you. You might think it's selfish or whatever, but it's almost like what you give, you get in return in another way by putting yourself out there. People are drawn to that. So stay away from negative people, cut them out. You might even find your partner or other people in your life. Slowly, you're going to have to cut them out, all right? Because it can become like crabs in a bucket. Crabs in a bucket, if you put one crab in a bucket, it'll escape. If you put 2 or more crabs in a bucket, they won't escape, because the other one that's left behind will pull them back down. I don't know what I'm doing here, pincers. Pull them back down. And it's the same like if you've given up smoking, and then your friend says, oh, you're coming out for a fag? You know, people don't want to be out there on their own. People don't want to be left behind, you know? So, and same with drugs. Often people say, oh yeah, you can have this one for free. This one's on the house. It's to get you sucked in. So cut those people out, cut out the negative people, build positive relations in your community, all right? Make money, buy assets. So whether you start by buying a good quality pair of shoes, good quality pair of wellies, good quality coat, start building a rainy day fund. Maybe you've got a little bit of land and you can put a caravan on it, and you can let a farm boy live in there, for example, or something like that. So think about how you can slowly build up your assets, and then in time that just builds and builds and builds. Or again, you could do YouTube videos, things like this, that share your knowledge, give back to other people, and just build that reputation of being a good person, all right? And it'll come back to you. So that's the best way to get off of being depressed, off of being sad, off of being down and low and wondering where all your energy's gone. Getting your mojo back is by winning at life. You stop complaining, you find positive people, and you start building some money. Once you've got money, then you're able to enjoy it and have a cruise. Maybe you buy, but you'll find your mindset will change. You won't want to go on lavish things and throw away your money on sports cars and things like that. You'll want to buy bigger assets and more ways to make money. So it's all about a mindset. And that's exactly what they teach in private schools. You know, private schools are all about building leaders, building connections and networks. All right, that's what it's all about. It's all about people. If you're good to people and you're shrewd and you're savvy with business and you've got a good accountant, then you can slowly build your wealth. All right, it's going to take time. So you've got to be patient, and you've got to be a good person. All right, so stop focusing on poor me, I don't have a latest iPhone. Think about how you can switch that around, you know? So then you will build your wealth, you will build your money, and you will attract positive people. You'll attract nice people, maybe a partner that you want to be with, maybe good friends, maybe, you know, lots of good things will happen to your life. So that's the way to move forward and get out of that funk, get out of that rut. Start building, start doing stuff. Okay, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.